Welcome back to Bourbon Barrel, and today we're going to be reviewing Baker's 7 Single Barrel. Baker's is produced by Jim Beam, which is located in Claremont, Kentucky. Baker's has a mash bill of 77% corn, 13% rye, and 10% malted barley, and is aged at least 7 years. Although that age can change as it is age stated, so some can be as low as 7 years, some can be as high as 8 years, 6 months. It just varies sometimes on the bottle. The black label along the side gives a little history about the bottle, and it also gives things like the ABV and the age. However, along the neck of the bottle is some more information such as the fill date, the exact age, and the serial number of the barrel. The top itself is one of the best designs that I've seen. It has a nice embossed design on a black background, which just makes this bottle really special. And now, let's get right into the review. So I'm going ahead and pour up some of the Baker 7 here. So, as always, let's get right into the review. So, the color on this is not terrible. Again, Baker 7, these are around a 7-year product. So the color is actually pretty good here. A nice golden color, a little on the darker side, but nothing too terribly dark. So the fun thing about these specific single barrels is that they are aged a minimum of 7 years. So if you take a look at the bottle here, I'll show you. On the 7, you can see it's a minimum 7 years. Maybe hard to see, but yeah, minimum 7 years. So typically with these, obviously minimum 7 years, but these can go up to 8 years, 8 years, 6 months, things like that. And the way you can tell is you can just look at the top here. So this one, for example, was barreled in December of 2016, and this one is barrel aged 7 years and 3 months. So this particular bottle is on the lower end of that spectrum of ages for these Baker's single barrels, but like I said, I've seen it up to about 8 years, 6 months, but you can see the color here is really good. Not too light. You know you're gonna get some good quality here. There's really nice color to it, both bottle and in the blend. So I'm excited for this. Baker 7 is one of those things that I've always seen and heard people talk about, but have never gotten the chance to really try it before. And a lot of people said they're really good, even though they are single barrels. So you are going to get a little bit of variation between them, but for the most part, you can't go wrong with a Baker's. So with that being said, let's just get right into the nose for it. Okay. So this being a Jim Beam product, I kind of went into this with a little bit of an open mind because Jim Beam has an assortment of different products, so I don't. Sometimes you never know what you're gonna get from them. But from this one, I get like I get from a lot of Jim Beam products, I get like a typical nuttiness there, and there's a range for that, right? There's like a peanut butter type, or like a more savory, like straight up peanut, like peanut shell type. And this on the nose is definitely more of the like nutty, just like straight. Like peanut shell, like that kind of thing. Nothing too sweet with a peanut butter, but I'm getting a little bit of that nuttiness there. But it's definitely a sweeter nose. I'm getting a little bit of like a honey caramel type thing, something a little lighter, not like super dark or nothing. Nothing like a brown sugar molasses type thing. More of a lighter, more refreshing, I guess, like honey caramel type thing. But it's pretty good, and then I'm getting a little fruit too, but I think it's strawberry. Yeah, I'm gonna go with strawberry. I think that's what I'm getting. It's really nice. It's just like a raw, like freshly picked, so it's not like a sugary fruit. It's definitely just it smells like what a fresh strawberry would smell like, just freshly off plant, nothing, nothing processed, just straight raw strawberry. This is very nice. Like, it's definitely a little bit more complex than I imagined it was going to be. I didn't really have any expectations going into this other than, I've heard this is good. But, I mean, the nose is pretty decently complex, like nothing crazy. But it's definitely got some good bones to it. So I'm excited for the palate. So let's just get right into that. Okay. So it's definitely a little bit more, oh, there's a little difference there. Anyway, so there's a little bit more of a savory note there. Again, I'm getting more of, I'm getting a little bit of that sweetness up front. Again, I'm getting more of a sweeter fruit this time, more of like a strawberry jam, so like more processed than and less raw than what you got on the nose. So it's definitely more sugary fruit, but that's definitely undeniable that there is some sort of strawberry jammy type note at the beginning there. And then you get into the middle of it, you get more like an overwhelmingly kind of peanut shell type thing, more savory kind of notes there, which is super nice. And then what I had talked about earlier just a second ago was as I was tasting it, you know, you get to the finish, right? And the finish keeps going, like it's really nice, but it becomes more just savory. But the sweetness that is there actually comes from the peanut, weirdly enough. It's like it transformed into more of like a peanut buttery with like, you know, that kind of flavor, which is a little sweeter than like, you know, just straight up peanut shell. So I'm getting that sweetness kind of just transitions a little bit, and it's just more of like a more fruit type deal on the finish. Like it's definitely like fruity, a little peanut buttery in there, at least on the finish anyway. It's definitely longer, but the sweetness is dialed down a little bit compared to the nose on the palate and on the finish. But I still think it's really good, and you know, for this product being a relatively inexpensive one, it's definitely not like an upper like tier in terms of price. It's definitely more. I think this one was 50, low 50s or 50 exactly. I don't think there's a price or anything on it. Yeah, no. But I think it was low 50s at 50, maybe even under that. I can't remember. But it was not an expensive bottle for what you get. And they're single barrels. There are 107 proof. So it's not a cask strength product, but this kind of proof point right here is kind of a good sweet spot for me. Because some cask strengths, you know, can be a little hot, especially if you get cask strength rye and, you know, other cask strengths like that, and just some bourbon cask strength can be just a little hot, but this is at 107, and I typically don't like to go like, you know, low 90s or anything lower than that. Like I like the mid 90s, like 95 to 115, 120 type range. Like I know that's a big range, but like that kind of range is just a good spot. Anything in the 125s, you know, it can have a tendency to be too hot, and anything lower than, you know, 95, it tends to be a little too watery and not a lot of flavor for me. But I don't think this falls in either of those categories. I think this is a really good sweet spot for the proof. Yeah, this is very, very good. I'm very happy with this as like a drink, because again, the nose offers some complexity. So you get a little bit of like that complexity there, especially, and on the palate too, you got a little bit, just like a little depth to it. You know, it's not just like a surface level, one note, boom, you're done. But I don't think this is also too complicated either. I think this is something that, you know, has a little bit of a structure to it, has a little bit of something for everybody to kind of latch onto and enjoy. So if you like a little complicated, like more complex, I guess, more whiskeys, this is not super complex, but you definitely get a little complexity with it. If you want something simple, this is definitely something, once you have it, you can easily try it again and just, you know, sit down with it and not really think about it, because it's just good. It's just there and good. It's not super expensive, so you don't have to break the bank or anything on that. It's not going to be super cheap, so it's obviously going to be decent, good quality. And it's Jim Beam. Like, Jim Beam is a very good distiller. They produce very good stuff, and I've tried a bunch of Jim Beam products that they've got put out before, and you know, I generally like Jim Beam. So I think the Baker's lineup is definitely really good. And again, this is the low end I would consider, because these can get another, you know, year and a half older, like up to, you know, 8 years, 6 months is I think the biggest I've seen. But I don't know if they go higher than that. I have no idea. But you know, I think that, you know, the 8 year, 6 month ones that I've seen would be a little bit better than this one, just because they got like that little extra age onto it and a little bit more. So this is the low end, I would say, of like the Baker 7 spectrum. So for me, this is actually, you know, a 7. Like, perfect. Like, this is a perfect thing for a 7. It is that not going to blow you away. It's not going to be, you know, super, super good, like, where you're just like, man, I need to have this all the time. But it's also not going to be like, you know, something to where you are, it's just like an average pour, like, or below average. Like, there's not a lot wrong with this, you know. I think this is very good. I think there's something here for everybody to enjoy. So if you can get a Baker 7, especially if you can get it up into the upper age range of these, definitely worth the buy in my opinion.
Hope you guys have enjoyed this review of Baker 7 Single Barrel. I have left a summarized version of this review down in the description below, alongside a link to Jim Beam's website for this product. Let me know your thoughts of this bottle down below if you've gotten to try it, and also don't forget to check out the videos you see on screen as well. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you next time here on Burn and Barrel.